Hello.
Hi, Gibson.
Waiting for anybody else?
No?
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hey, Gibson. So, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it's a very nice start of today's con call.
yeah, trying to decide where to start first. I mean, like, there's Steve Bracken.
Well,
Sorry
yes.
about.
In fact, I just finished the con call with Renata, and she she felt very, very astonished and obviously not prepared for this last minute announcement. And but anyway, she told me that everything for China we follow the previous all workflow or procedure. The only change is in those things that has to be reported to Steve now temporarily moved to Adam, but for the already started and those items in plan, nothing changed.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, and do you have anything to share about this, our internal issue?
We don't have. Okay, so we don't have much information at the moment. I think what we should be trying to do is to try to reassure the clients right now, because as you said, they don't have much information. They weren't prepared for this. So on our end, we're just trying to reassure both Yvonne and Renata that we are here to help them through this period as well. And I think Adam himself, since he's been kind of elevated to this role, he's trying to figure out like what his direction is. So what we can do is that I'll probably drop Renata and Yvonne an email later this week to just say like, hey, by now we've all heard the news, and we're also trying to understand, what is the direction that is being put forward. And if there's any more information, we'll try to keep both of them aligned on what's going on. That's all we can say for now. Globally, I think that we are trying to catch up with Mark to understand the situation. He wrote a lot down there, but I don't know how much they know. So that's all we can do at the moment.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Never thought about this thing happen.
Yeah, none of us saw this coming. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, really, I think everything goes smooth except this.
Yeah. So, speaking of Honeywell, how did your catch up with Renata go?
Nothing. Just update to her about the ongoing work, uh, the interview opportunity on our long existed two topics. Now we keep moving on. It's the interview for the delay topic, and for the Go Direct Trade, I'm going to update the Go Direct Trade message to her today and tomorrow. And also, I will confirm those questions with the media who are interested in the topic of delay. And besides, it is about the Helicopter Expo forum. I think, not I think, but Czech Renata also need to learn more from the international aviation, the media, and also the key media partner of the organizing committee of the Heli Expo, to learn their plan. about both the exhibition and the forum, why they set this topic, and why they want to invite Honeywell, and what they expect the Honeywell spokesperson to share on the speech, and what will be the expected coverage coming out from the forum. I mean the official channels. Of course, if at last they decide to fly someone from Malaysia to participate in this forum, we will definitely leverage this opportunity to put more interview opportunities on this spokesperson. But if not, then forget it. I need to contact with the reporter for more information. Then I think Renata can use those information to check with the spokesperson whether they decide to come. That's it.
Okay. So, Gibson, two things first, huh?
Yes.
Firstly, in your review with Renata, did you all share with her some of the challenges that you all had from coming to China, like the abruptness, the last minute alerts, the scheduling of sessions? Did you all speak to her about that?
Sorry, what changes?
Okay, you remember you mentioned that there were a lot of challenges when Renata came to Beijing, right?
Yeah.
So remember you mentioned that.
Yes, that's another story. I would like to first tell the APAC team.
Okay, fine. If that's a longer story, then okay, let's address that in a short bit. Now, the second thing I want to address to you is, did you also see Emma's email regarding supporting the helicopter show? Because she mentioned that by right, this thing is actually out of scope, and if you need to support that and you've been pitching interviews for that, are you taking it away from deliverables within the existing scope, or are you then letting Renata know that actually this is out of scope and she needs to go and get additional budget for this?
I have not mentioned the budget, but at this moment, it is more like a media inquiry, and the media inquiry is, in fact, within our scope of work. Then after I check with the reporters, I will have all the answers, and then with my suggestions to Renata. So the next steps for all the internal checking will be something that done by Renata. Also, even if they decide to participate, the Honeywell will directly contact with the organizing committee. The only thing is, probably I need to go to Tianjin, the venue of this show. I need to go there for on-site support, especially when I pitched the interview for the spokesperson. But in that way, I will put it into our hours and budget. But the problem is that is in another city that supposed not to offer the on-site support.
Yeah, because if you do need to go down for this event itself, right? Okay, so the media inquiries and everything, if you can consider that within scope, that's understandable. But if you do need to go down to support this event itself, right, then you might need to go look at your scope to determine what can you swap out to say that you're providing on-site support. That's one. Secondly, in terms of like the cost for flying over there, etc., right? Technically, if the client needs you there, then they have to pay for that for you to go down. Now, I know that the other issue is that Renata typically, she will say that, oh, then actually I don't need you, and then she'll try to handle it herself. Now, the problem is, it creates a lot of problems between like the agency and working with her on that front. So you're going to have to manage her very closely on how we deal with it. I don't have a recommendation for you at this moment since we just learned about it.
Well, thank you, man. But let me explain about this. This is another city, but the two cities was quite close to each other. So even if it's like a trip out of city, but in fact I just take the train for 30 minutes, then I arrived there, and I don't have to stay in a hotel.
Gibson, the main thing is that because we don't want to set an expectation with Renata that you're
Oh.
always going to do these things above and beyond the scope. The main
Yes.
thing is that you need to make sure that whatever is within the current scope, right? That
Yeah.
if you're going to go and do all these additional stuff, one, we need to make it a point that it's above and beyond the additional scope, okay? Sorry, it's above and beyond the current scope. And secondly, this is how you actually sell the value of what we are trying to do as an agency, that we are willing to put in some of this additional investment, but she needs to recognize that, because if she's constantly saying that, oh, you know, the agency doesn't give me enough support, the agency isn't giving me enough value, these are things that we can go to her and say, like, that's not true. We have done all this additional work for you. Yes, but some of it still needs to come out from your scope itself. So, for example, let's say you're going to spend 3 days doing on-site support down there, right? Maybe what you might want to do is reduce like one interview that she should be doing, or you reduce like some of the other things that she's requested for. The main thing that you want to do is to make sure that whenever she asks for these requests, we don't just say, oh yes, no problem, we'll do it, but rather you let her know that we are making additional effort to do these things, and she should recognize that as well, okay?
Sure, understood.
Yeah, it's just how we position this. These are things that we really need to reinforce with Renata, because it cannot be always the case where we give more to Renata, then she's always saying that, oh, but y'all don't give me enough stuff. But there are all these things that you do as an additional support down there, right, which is really important, and she needs to recognize that.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I think I'm now thinking about for better relationship and personal connection with Renata, if I reply directly on everything based on her first email telling me there's this media inquiry opportunity. You see, from her first email, she asked me 2 questions. One is about what is about the show, and then who do you think, which spokesperson do you suggest to participate? What solutions can we mention on the show? She is Honeywell internal guy, but I think she take this inquiry and directly put everything on we side and without any deep thinking.
Yeah. No,
So-
that is true. And
Yeah,
so when you do these things, right, then it allows us to fight the case that, you know, when Renata says that you don't provide enough feedback of value, right, then we actually have these email threads to actually show to Global or show to, well, I guess Adam now that this is the kind of value that you've been providing. So we need to make sure that we are selling these examples to Global so that they can fight the case for us also.
Yes, you see, from the very beginning, in fact, I checked with, I can easily check with the reporter, Yan Siming, the reporter who asked Renata, and then I listed those detail items very clear in the email already to her, and then all the updated information will be on the same email base, and then by the end we'll have a full track for everything we provide on this work.
Yeah. Okay. So just keep us in the loop about, you know, what kind of support you're doing down there. So if Renata asks you whether you can come down and support, right, what I would say is don't tell her yes, or if she asks you for all these additional requests, right, why don't you check in with us first to see whether we should be doing something or not, okay?
Yes. Anything beyond the message collection. Now I'm doing, in fact, is internally I'm doing the message collection to let Renata know what helicopter solutions they have. It's a simple paperwork. I just copy from previous briefing book. That's enough. and ready to be talk. And then externally, I'm checking with the media, with the organizing committee to ask for the more information about this event, and then everything will be put in the same email. If there's anything beyond this, for example, the on-site support, the registration, or any other support she asked me to do, I will tell her to hold, and then I will check with the team first, either with APAC or even with our global.
Yeah, that helps. Thanks.
Thank you, man.
Okay. Any other updates that you have?
Nothing urgent. You want to talk about?
Okay. So now that we've finished most of those updates, right? Yeah. Can you share with us like what happened during the review session with Renata?
Yeah. I write down a lot of bullet points, and then I try to talk to Renata and for a recap on the interview. But when I just started to mention her from the very beginning about the timing, for example, the limited time, getting Beijing in a rush, and the non-transparent meeting with the media.
Yeah.
I tell this to her, but she give me no feedback, no direct feedback on that. But just at that time, she gave me a reply that she never brings up to me. Previously, when I tell her anything that she should pay attention to or should avoid, she will reply, "Okay, we will do this way. I insist to this way. I heard this from our Honeywell internal. You should follow our instructions." Always something like this. But at that time, when I bring all those I can say it's bad things during her visit with the media, her reply is very, very polite and simple, like in this way: "Hey, Gibson, I'm fresh. Okay, I'm fresh, and I'm not experienced in this. So maybe something I'm not so experienced, and I did something incorrect. I think I can correct those mistakes, and I can make some improvement for next visit. And besides, Yvonne is also doing the media visit in Singapore, so I think she can also share with me some experience or suggestions that I can learn." Then she finished our talking on this topic.
So that's all she said, is that right? She just said that. So she didn't acknowledge that she made mistakes directly, but she just said that she knows she can improve. Is that right?
Yeah, I feel her feedback is more or less the diplomatic way.
Yeah, sure. So, okay. So now that you've had that chat with her already, right? My suggestion is that we do a follow-up email. Then we say that, hey, thanks for the chat regarding the review of the recent media sessions. So as you mentioned, that there are areas that can be improved on. So here are some suggestions that we want to make. Then you tell her, for example, one suggestion: confirm the date that she is coming to Beijing for at least 1 to 2 weeks in advance. So this allows you all to prepare the people. Then recommendation 2, identify and agree upon the list of media that we are going to meet down there, and mention to her, like, let the agency handle this because the agency has these relationships, and furthermore, the agency is best placed to go and schedule where all these locations should be.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I think I lost.
Okay. What
I
I'm
was
saying is that
from the agency can something.
so I said you let her know that the reason why she should be selling, why you all should be agreeing and identifying who the media that you all want to talk to first, is so that the agency is in a better place to organize these sessions with the media, confirm the locations, and set up the entire meeting, as opposed to her just showing up and then deciding which media she wants to meet. because then that allows you all to use the time more effectively. If you need help drafting this email, please let us know. We can help with refining your email. Okay?
Yeah, sure. That's what I'm going to ask. Well, in fact, I think I'm going to write something. At first, I thought I'm going to write a recap for her last visit in Beijing, but now considering her feedback and attitude on the Concord recap, it seems she would not, she doesn't like to directly face what has happened. So I think I can change a direction into some suggestion or standard procedural way to her as a reference. Let her to follow our instruction.
Yeah. So let's position it that way. And you know what? To take some of the heat off from you, right? If you want us to send that email as well, it's fine. Then the way that we can position this, right, is this should be a standard practice, whether it is in China or whether it's in APAC. That way, I copy both Renata and Yvonne in there. The honest truth is, I tell you that Renata might be a bit pissed off because Yvonne will be copying the email. But this is our way of trying to align the practices across the agency, whether it's in China or APAC, right? Where I'll say to them like, hey, we want to share some feedback based on the recent meetings that we had both in Singapore and China, and we want to set some standard practices, right? So this way we don't specifically call out Renata, but we know that we're trying to educate her on how to do things better. Okay?
Yes, but I think it would be more safe to send the email from my side directly to Renata and copy the APAC team, but without Yvonne there.
No, I can understand. Like it's I know where you're coming from. Do you have anything?
Especially. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
So I think in your response to Renata, you can leave Yvonne out of it or respond however you want. But as Lincoln said, from our perspective, when we send a recap to Yvonne or whoever it is, we will also share the best practices that we as a region for APAC is looking to implement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there are some things. I mean, there are some processes that we can definitely set in place for Yvonne's sessions in Singapore as well. So we will just word it generally so that it's position it to apply to both China and APAC. So it doesn't look like it's targeted specifically at Renata.
So can I understand in this way? Since Renata came to Beijing for a media meeting, and Yvonne went to Singapore. So it is the same thing with the same target in both the APAC region and in China mainland. In this case, we can say that, hey, the we team, we had some internal communication and then work out those, something we call the best practice for media visit. And then now we share it with both the client sides. Then the APAC CA, the Singapore team sent it out as the APAC hub, right?
Yeah, okay, so yes, that's exactly what Lincoln was trying to say.
Okay.
So,
I will do.
So, hang on. So what you need to do is that you need to drop us an email with the global team or whoever CC it, explaining, all these key takeaways and all the issues that you have had. And then we will send out that regional note to both Yvonne, Renata, and the APAC and the China team alias, copying in global and making all that internal alignment.
Okay.
But
Okay,
we'll
okay.
need that email from you
Yeah, we need the email from you.
to complain about Renata.
Yeah. Write it however way you see fit first. Just include as much information as you can.
It's just internal.
And let us do the rewording first, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember I had an email and to the global team. No, to Morgan, and Morgan give a lot of input there. I will use that. I will share everything those unpleasant experience as a remark to explain why I give the suggestions as our best practice items. You will know everything there.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay. I'll do it within, I think before COB Thursday, I will finish it, very detailed things, and then send to you, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. We just want to make sure that we play a bigger role in sort of helping you to manage Renata. Now that, cause I think like Steve was always a great help with trying to do these things. And now with Global also trying to figure out like how to work with the clients. Let us try to help you with these conversations with Renata. I understand it can be difficult. And I also understand that it's really like the way Renata is portraying the agency in even to her own corporate team, right, is very unfair. So we want to try to manage that now, okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
I think. And I'm not sure,
Okay.
when I heard Renata's voice mentioning about Steve's leaving, I feel that, not sure if she is in some not safe situation. She sounds so worried.
I think that they are all definitely worried because they don't know what to do. They really are, because they haven't been given any instruction. All they were just told is that, oh yeah, Steve is leaving or has left, and just carry on as usual. So for them, they don't know how to respond.
Yeah, I think currently the problem or the risk for Renata is Steve used to be very, very nice for the two new girls, Renata and Amanda in US.
Yeah.
But now the new one take place in of Steve's role, and not sure if a big boss can suffer such a fresh kid playing in such an important position.
Yeah. Yeah, we know.
Yep.
So this is a risk for her.
Yeah. We don't have any answers to that at the moment either ourselves, so we're all just trying to figure it out lah. Yeah. What do you need to let them know about the tech?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So additionally, we have a defense trade show that's coming up in Taiwan in middle of August,
Middle
15th to
August?
17th of August. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's in Taiwan. Honeywell has a booth, and there's a couple of sensitivities around it. So firstly, it's of course the arms race issue, but secondly, it's that supposedly the Taiwanese government is looking to debut the Deng Yun UAV at the trade show.
Okay.
And they actually generated some news recently because the government actually went to purchase the Honeywell TPE 331 engines paid a premium for the engines, and then it was reported that they were supposed to debut it lah. So between all that, the engines and then the engines were being compared to the Reaper drones that the US has. So that's one potential issue. Then secondly is that with the trade war and the sensitivities and all that that's going on, it may blow up again. So in terms of media interviews, we are scoped out to pitch about, I think, 3 to 5 media interviews for this trade show. So we have recommended to Yvonne that we should only focus on pitching to the defense publication, the trade publications, because if we pitch to the news, there's a potential that they might bring in the whole US-China trade war and all that political stuff back in. So our other recommendation is for Yvonne to give the China team a heads up, because even though the China team doesn't deal with defense, there is a possibility that the Chinese media will still report on the story.
Yeah, definitely.
What we are hoping to try and do as much as possible is to keep the Honeywell name out of this.
No, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So
But yeah.
yeah. So internally, sorry.
No way.
Huh?
I mean, no way to keep the Honeywell's name out of this. Especially the media will bring the previous issue and say, hey, did this something really happen? And then there might be another wave of negative voice.
Yeah. So that's the problem, right? Because on the one hand, while we are aware that given how the issue has blown up across from Chinese international media to Chinese media to Hong Kong and then to Taiwan, we also understand that if we do pitch any stories to Taiwanese media, it will have that same chain effect back to China and potentially globally as well. But on the other hand, we are scoped out to do work for this, and internally, Honeywell feels that the aerospace people feel that there is not much of an issue to continue talking about this to defense media if we are very careful of how we position the stories and who we pitch to. So for now, the recommendation is to pitch only to the defense trade media and not to the news at all. But just a heads up that there may be fallout from this.
Okay, so I will also tell the Chinese team here to pay attention to those news if there's anything come out during or sometime after the show in Taiwan.
Keep it internal for now because Yvonne hasn't confirmed the recommendations yet.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we asked her to give the Honeywell China team and the Honeywell China corporate, that means that the Renata as well as the corporate team, a heads up, but just keep it internal for now until she has confirmed all this. And then as we go along, we'll continue updating you.
Sure. Just within me, Bill, and Nana.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, and then last thing, right? I'm on leave next week. Haha.
What?
You need to take leave.
I'm on leave next week.
On leave, okay, not leave.
Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving next week.
Yeah. She's not leaving the agency.
I'm leaving Lincoln in charge of stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me you are leaving the company, okay?
Okay. But yeah, and next week on the 9th is a public holiday in Singapore. It's our National Day, and then on the 12th, the following Monday, it's Hari Raya Haji. So it's back-to-back public holidays. So the team will be away from Friday to Monday, and that means it will be a short week for us for the next 2 weeks. So I'm away. And I'm back on the 13th.
Okay, I'll be missing you so much.
Haha, I know, right?
I love your haha.
Okay, you can Skype Lincoln.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still around.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, team.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.